Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, around 6 p.m., a fire was reported in the Marine Science Laboratory, MSL, building on the campus of the University of Florida, St. Petersburg. This is of particular interest to me because I spend a large quantity of my days managing safety for university research laboratories. Here's what we know according to the reports. The MSL building is over 80 years old and is home to many faculty and laboratories supporting USF's College of Marine Science. The University of South Florida St. Petersburg's campus website says that the campus itself was originally the home of the U.S. Maritime Service Training Station in St. Petersburg. This facility opened in 1939 originally. Then in 1965, it looks like the University of South Florida at St. Petersburg was established. Then fast forward to 2018, and the university opens their mech lab inside that original building. The news website that announces the grand opening of this laboratory does say, extensive renovations needed to produce the state-of-the-art facility were the result of collaborations between construction companies and architects, yada, yada, yada. I don't work in any buildings quite that old, but the ones I do work in that are around 60 years old have many fire protection challenges. Keep in mind that the building itself would have been built before anything like NFPA 101 or the International Building Code was a thing, meaning I can't compare this building's construction to modern standards without having detailed drawings in front of me. Not to say that the building is inherently unsafe. That's not true at all. Also, 80 years is a lot of time for renovations to happen. Space change, occupancy change, building systems change. All this equals a hodgepodge of construction methods and MEP systems. Speaking of building systems, according to multiple news outlets, the fire was originally reported by a bystander who called it into authorities. The university's website also has some virtual tours available on its website of this exact lab. As I look around this lab, I do see things like fire alarm notification devices on the walls. It also looks like there is a sprinkler system, at least in that renovated part of the building. And that really makes me scratch my head as to why a bystander would have been the first one to have called in the fire. Again, I'm not insinuating that the fire started in this lab. I'm just saying the pictures that are available of spaces inside this building do seem to indicate that there is automatic fire alarms and fire sprinkler systems inside. One thing I saw in a video clip was a bright green flame emitting from an exhaust stack. That tells me that the fire likely involved chemicals. One lab that we know is in this building is the Marine Environmental Chemistry Laboratory, or MEC Lab. Based on publicly available information, this lab supports environmental contaminant research, hydrocarbon and PFAS research, and trace level chemical detection. Some of the key pieces of analytical equipment in this lab include gas chromatographs, mass spectrometers, solvent extraction systems, and sample concentration equipment. This tells me that this lab had a high capacity to perform chemical manipulations and analysis. The green flame specifically means that there may have been copper compounds involved in the fire. That green fire also seemed to be neatly coming out of an exhaust duct on the roof. That tells me there may have been fire affecting some piece of equipment inside the building, so possibly laboratory environments were directly involved in the fire. I had to do some Googling, but copper compounds in a marine lab could be something like copper sulfate, which is used in algae control. This is purely speculation. I've spent a lot of time collaborating with my local fire departments, ensuring they can get into my labs to perform pre-plans. This is not the same thing as having the fire marshal come in and perform an inspection. Fire marshals are looking for code compliance. The guys in the big red trucks are formulating plans for how they would approach an emergency in a given space. Hopefully the St. Petersburg campus has a good working relationship with St. Pete Fire and Rescue. There's a station just a few blocks away from campus. Regardless, there are no reported injuries from the fire or hazmat incident, so from that point of view, we can say the response was successful from a life safety standpoint. But it sounds like the building is a total loss. My heart goes out to all the faculty, staff, and students who now have to figure out what to do now. Especially the students. Years of research have likely been lost, and without that research, what will that do to them completing their degrees? I'll be curious to know if I'm able to learn any inside information through my network of campus safety professionals. But in the meantime, I'll go back to my university next week and review my programs and reach out to my local first due companies. Now, if you understand the significance of this incident, but don't know where to start reviewing your preparedness for an emergency like this, you can reach out to me through my site, charliedivision.com, and I'll be happy to schedule time to discuss with you.